pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Comment, and I'm going to take this time to read an announcement about the Atchison County Employee Training Day. The Atchison County Courthouse, Road and Bridge, Transfer Station, and Noxious Weed offices will be closed to the public for an Employee Training Day on Columbus Day, October 8th, 2018. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause the citizens of Atchison County. However, we believe that the ongoing training and exercises are important for the employees of Atchison County to improve employee morale and customer service for our citizens. So we just want to put that out there, and we're going to try to get that published wherever we can to make the public aware. That. Okay. Everybody have a chance to read the minutes from last week?
I didn't see any corrections.
I didn't either. Do I hear a motion to?
I shall move.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 2 for, 1 abstain. Okay. Commissioner comments and committee reports. Jack, do you have anything?
Other than I was at the groundbreaking for the Muriel plane on Saturday. Big tenants there. I think we're pretty excited about it. Other than that, I have nothing.
I have nothing. Sure.
Okay, I had a NECAP meeting Thursday night, which I was unable to attend. I was just physically unable to get to that. So I think it's the first one I've missed. Okay. Melissa, you want to come up?
Sure. I had emailed you guys some of the documentation that the state had sent me. Do you have that? I made an extra copy or two. I made two.
I've read through it.
I read through it.
I read through it. Oh, here, yeah. So I just got the cover letters, but no, I don't think we got the.
I think I sent these in the email like several weeks ago.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I just wanted to go over this with you just so that you would know what it means, because this is our annual grade card that we get in the appraiser's office that tells you how we're doing. I know the state sends the county commissioners the letter that says we are in fact in substantial compliance, but in addition to that, they send us a pretty detailed list of where we're meeting the requirements for each individual area that they require us to, the regulations and such they require us to follow according to, all the guidelines and all the laws and everything that we have to adhere to. We are graded for this report, or for our compliance. 50% of our score comes from the ratio study. It comes from our how well we are appraising the property. In other words, they do a ratio study that compares the properties that have sold, the arm's length transaction properties that have sold, with the value that we have on them. And the ratio study shows that our residential median ratio is 98.9, 100 being perfect. If we got 100, that would mean we would somehow know what all the properties are going to sell for, which of course that's be impossible. And then we also, another measure that they use is the COD, the coefficient of dispersion, which measures how close the cells are to that median ratio. And the lower the number, the better. And they want you to have a number that's under 20. So our residential COD, it measures uniformity, is 11.9 for residential. And then our median ratio for commercial is 97.5. And I have no idea how I did this, but the COD is 2.4.
You're a genius.
I must be. 2.4. But that's where
Is this all done through regression analysis? Is that how they can do these things?
they do a ratio study where they take all of the sales that are valid, and they do this for every county. And then they array them, they determine the median ratio, and then they calculate the coefficient of dispersion. They also measure some other things like the price-related differential to see if we're over-appraising higher value properties or under-appraising higher value properties, or if we're doing that to lower value properties. And a couple other things that we don't get graded on, but they do look at, and they show us how we're doing in those regards too. But it's a whole ratio study. They have a ratio study department that they call on sales to validate them, just like we do. We go out and validate our own sales to make sure that we're using valid sales as we use the market approach, as we compare other properties to those properties that have sold. So we validate sales, and the state does that too, just to make sure that they're using valid sales in our study. But we use it for regression analysis and valuing property, but the state uses it for this ratio study to make sure that we are valuing properties close to market value. That's the whole goal. Value close to market value as close as possible. So that's where half of our score comes from, and we did get all 50 points that were possible in that regard. And then the rest of the points, the other 50 points, comes from many, many things and lots of parts of the rules and the guidelines that we're supposed to follow. And the first sheet has it broken down into what all the points come from.
And you got perfect score in every category but 2, which we didn't get any score.
It's funny how they do that. It's like the depreciation analysis. I did all of my depreciation analysis for commercial and residential and for mobile homes. But they took away all 4 points because there's something called overrides. And there are times where I will override a value because I don't like the value. I will override the percent good. Like, for instance, that K.S.A. Taco Bell building, all my numbers were coming out high. They were coming out way higher than the value that the Board of Tax Appeals reduced it to. And the only way I can get that value down was to override it. It came out higher than what it sold for at auction, too. So there are times where you have to use an override for whatever reason. And there's also overrides on things like your land values from your studies might be a certain amount, but certain lots in the subdivision are very, very slopey. And you might not have any sales that tell you that that really steep slopey lot is not going to sell for as much as the nice flat ones. But as an appraiser, you know it's not going to. So you might influence or override the percent good down a little bit. Well, they told us earlier this year that if you don't have documentation for every one of your overrides, that they're going to knock off points for that. But they said they were going to do it in 2019. And I even made the comment that some of the things that I've overridden, I'm not going to have documentation for because I don't have the sales. A county this size doesn't always have the sales.
Okay.
And some of it's appraisal judgment, and some of it's past experience. But so the way they're going to do that next year is they're not going to take away all 4 points if you don't have all your overrides documented for where you got that number. They're going to knock off 1 point for commercial and 1 point for residential. instead of taking away all 4 points, but that's just the way they do that. And then the final review process, which is, this one I kind of argued with them about because, for one thing, they told me that grain elevators only had to be valued every other year and that you can use an index value or something for the in-between year. But come to find out, that's not true. So the 0 points come from the fact that I valued the grain elevators in 2017 using the guide, and in 2018 I indexed it based on what my commercial index value was, what the trend was for commercial values. So that's where that 0 point came from, and I guess they did that to everybody so they didn't single me out, because I did call them up, because that technically goes in following the statute. It doesn't go in final review, but that's where they put it, and they treated everybody the same, so they took away that 4 points. And those are the ones that they took away, and that's why. But if you look at all of these things, and another thing that they did is they used a prior spreadsheet, and they didn't always take off their old notes. Like one of these notes said that we only did 97.25% of our relist. We did 100% of our relist. We did all that we were supposed to do. We got a yes, so they did give us a yes for relist, and they wouldn't have given us a yes if we'd only done 97.25%. They just didn't clean up some of their old notes. So if you do happen to look at some of those red notes,
they're not on here, so
they're on the spreadsheet that has all of the itemized information. So there are some of those notes that just aren't. They didn't clean that up, but they did give us yeses. That's the most important column, the yeses. That's what we want. Lots of yeses. So if you happen to read through there, and there's another thing here that says that our soils, we use the soil types to value the ag land. Actually, the state values the ag land, but that's part of what is used to get to that value. They say that we have a couple soils in Orion, but that it's not on our soil survey. But they sent us those in the spring, and there were just 2 soils that had gotten updated, and we fixed them, months ago. So that was just a note that didn't get removed. Our soils are fine in Orion and on the soil survey. So if you see anything on here that you question, just feel free to give me a call. And I did email the whole thing to you, but it was like maybe 3 weeks ago that I sent it to you.
I don't think it's been that long. I think it was
just like a week ago.
Yeah, and
well, the letter came out about a week ago, but when I was trying to schedule this meeting, I had 2 Tuesdays that I knew I wasn't going to be here, so this was the first Tuesday that I was
I
going to be
remember
available.
seeing it. Maybe it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's in that one.
Any questions you guys have for any of this process?
No, I think everything looks good as far as I'm concerned. It looks like a good report.
All right. I think I got an A.
You have all the tools you need to do a good job?
Do you need this guy?
Do I what?
You have all the tools that you need to do a good job?
I think I do.
Okay,
I
good.
do. I could use that temp I have full time because she's really good. But her last day is going to be the 12th. So,
Is that the girl that blows up balloons and stuff?
maybe, yeah. I think I did hear she does that.
Yeah.
Gabrielle. She's
Yeah.
good. That's really good.
That's very
All right.
Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you very
guys.
much. Good work.
Writing work.
We got. Can we just go ordering? Go Is
We got
that-
a few things we discussed before.
We can't open
Oh,
bids on that.
okay, yeah, not with the bids, but
3 other items we can discuss. The first one would be the surveying and staking of that Atchison Bridge project.
Schwab Eaton and McAfee Henderson.
Correct.
Now, was this you let a bid for, or not a bid?
K.S.A. had let this project last week. This is just a part of the engineering that needs to be completed. It was basically our decision to pick who.
Will this
would like
number
to.
be our 20% or is this the whole number?
No, that's the whole number. We thought 20% of that is what we.
Okay, we got two estimate, or these bids or estimates?
They're bids.
Bids on project number 3 C-4871-01. We got one bid from Schwab Eaton in the amount of $9,500, and McAfee Henderson Solutions in the amount of $11,918.27. Now, they are essentially exactly the same work. I mean, there's no, one's not,
Correct. They both have to
you've
be the
reviewed
same.
them, and
Correct.
and your recommendation is
I'm fine with Schwab Eaton's at the cheaper amount.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the bid of $9,580 from Schwab Eaton for the project 3C4871-01.
I will second it. There's a discussion point. It's only 20%, the 9,000.
what we actually will only pay,
20%.
20%. But this is the
So
bid
it'll
amount that we have
be
to.
about $2,000.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept Schwab Eaton's bid. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Do I need to sign? Or?
No, I'll just submit that and Kate, I'll send this back paperwork to finalize that. The next thing I have is for Cheyenne Road. We had this discussion this morning about what we want to do with that road for this year. I did get a hold of Foley for the rental machine that we will need to reclaim that road in order to get the repairs done for next year. At the most of what it'll cost us for that machine for a week is $11,650. And that's the rental, that's for freight to get the machine here, and that's for the new tips on the machine. That's any machine you do, you have to replace the tips. We're going to try to knock it out within a day or two, which will save us a couple $1,000.
I was going to ask, is that going to be prorated?
Correct. So they gave us a day price and a week price. I just like that week price in case we have issues, problems, anything. And that can be delivered to us by the 1st of October. So my goal is we're going to work late hours and use it for either a day or 2 days and get it done. We should be able
Is
to.
there any clause in this weather relation that we can't work?
I'm sure they would work with us on that. They're actually planning on basically bringing it to us probably next week, letting it sit on the site. So basically, it's usage is how it shows me 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week.
So
they
that
track
road
the
will be
hours.
closed down for a week? or
We can
not?
keep it open for the most
Okay.
part. I mean, the day we're working on it, we'll probably close it for that time
Okay.
period. But by evening, we should have it packed back in for what we got done. It'll be back open that night. So we'll put out a notice on that there'll be construction, use caution. We might go ahead and lower the speed limit while construction is going on until it's compacted back to safe
But
travel.
now we're grinding up the whole road or just the back?
Just the worst of the worst. There's probably a half mile right off 116 that's not in too bad a shape. We'll keep that. There's no sense in ripping that up
But
to start.
next year that will be ripped up and then start all new.
I don't think we'll need to rip that. We'll just lay an overlay over that one, and then we'll start
We'll just
where we
make sure
tore
that
it.
we got
So-
enough base and stuff, so we're
Correct.
not.
If you would like, we can do the whole thing. I just feel it would be a waste of a good section
I'd
of
like
road.
to see the cost of what it costs.
Really, it's just going to be the material for next year. For machine rental, we'll have that whole road done within a week for sure. Ground up anyways, and that machine can go.
But when is the drain tubes and that thing gonna?
That'll go in this winter. basically as we have time this winter, we'll get that done before spring next year. I would like it to sit through a few months so we can find out where those springs are at or those soft spots, and then it shouldn't take but more than a couple weeks to figure all those. Once we find them, get the drain tiles put in, new tubes put in where they need to be. We should be good. So by next spring, by next summer, it should be ready to go for asphalt or chip seal. So here's that number. Really, I just need approval up to that amount for the rental of that machine, and that you guys agree that that's what you want to do on Cheyenne Road.
Well, I'd like to make sure that we got something in there for the weather. If it rains, we can't use it, and what it is per day. I'm sure the daily rate's more than the weekly rate. Still, if we only need it 2 or 3 days, it'll still be cheaper than the week rate.
Correct.
Other than that, I'm fine with it.
And I'll pick a week and if October 1st does not work for us and there's rain the whole week, I'll tell them not to even bring it to us. We'll find another week where I know it's clear. So
The only thing I question, I thought when we said we was going to tear it up, I thought we was going to tear everything up and then go back and fix it. Now the first mile and a half, we're not going to tear up and we're going to put overlay on it.
from our discussion this morning, I thought we were understanding we wanted to tear up the bad area for now. But I'm more than happy to tear the entire 3 miles up if that's what you want.
Well, I just want to make sure we do it right.
It shows no base issues within that first half mile.
That's correct.
So it's everything past
But
that
is the
first.
tubes all right? Is it ditched and there's no springs? And so we can go over the top and you think we'd be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do, and that's how I feel. I mean, I'm going to make the judgment call as we're out there. If we see something, we'll continue to go further. But from what I understand, that first half mile, it just needs overlaid. It just needs some new surface on it. So.
Okay. I just want it done right.
Is there a motion to approve?
I so moved.
I'll second it. It is the end of a lengthy discussion we had this morning. There's lots of different alternatives, but the other alternatives for the short term are extremely expensive. And getting it fixed right next year is our goal. And it might be a gravel surface for the winter. But
Sure.
I think at the end of the day, we're making a smart decision for the county.
I don't know if there's a neighborhood lead person and maybe say, we're doing this, we want to fix it right, but right now we're going to do it a partially gravel road and then we're going to fix it right.
I mean, just be a Facebook post and hopefully it gets
Okay.
out there and shot. There's not really
Yeah,
a neighborhood down there. It's
lead person
houses
to get the message
within
out.
miles of each other. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any one person out there that I could think of to contact that would.
The only one I could think of is with the sign company out there.
Mike Banks.
Mike Banks, yes. He's the only one I know on that road. So.
I guess I have a different take on it, and I would still like to just see it patched until it was actually ready to go in and put drains in and that type of stuff. Because I'm afraid that it's going to get tore up and then not drained and not resealed, and it's going to be going backwards. So, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Passes 2-1.
Sure.
Is you're going to get us like a PO and for us to sign?
If you want, the problem is if I get it done one day, that rate's going to be different. So as long as I think I have the approval up to a certain net amount, I think we should be fine. I can bring a PO if you'd like one. It would make
It would
you
have to
all feel
be not to exceed 11.5 if you did one. Would that be
better. I'll go write one up next door.
I think that would probably be more formal.
I'll just do it later on.
Okay, you also had authority to award. Oh, that's that one.
You know, we still do that authority award that off system.
Okay, yeah, that is the same number, isn't it, on that,
Yep.
what we done earlier.
You got 5 minutes for the open bid. Can you get it taken care of in 5
Well,
minutes?
that's just basically you guys.
Can you explain what this is?
So what that is the 2018 All System Bridge project. It was let out last Wednesday from KDOT. You'll see there's 3 or 4 contractor bids on the last sheet. The company that had the winning bid, those are their numbers, or their numbers, what is inputted into that spreadsheet there. That is KDOT spreadsheet that they sent over. You'll see that our total amount that we had to pay is $96,000, I believe. Should be on their county.
20% county funds, $95,826.
So that would be our portion of that project. What today's is basically you guys approving the contractor at their bid amount of whatever it states on there. I have those numbers in front of me. You have them all.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll keep you the last sheet. Okay, so what you're approving is King Construction at $435,571 to do the bridge project 3C 487101. That is their total amount. Like I said, we pay 20% of that plus construction engineering. That is all these numbers combined is that number plus construction engineering plus what else is in here? Okay, it'd be those two numbers added in, and then our 20% is at $96,000. So all you're doing is approving King Construction to do the project at that amount. KDOT basically approves it as soon as we approve it.
Any other questions?
Is King's outfit that bid on it?
No, there's 3 other bids.
Oh,
They're on that sheet.
Okay.
Then the last sheet that was attached to the document. I'm gonna keep yelling. It'd be on a.
Oh, it's on the back.
It was on whatever was published there.
King Construction, Reese Construction Company, Ebert Construction Company, and Bridges Inc. Prices ranged from $235, $266 to the highest of $520, $650. Okay, with that, do I hear a motion?
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll accept. It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 3-0.
Is there a time limit on this?
We'll set those early and late start dates. Actually, I believe they already do have the late and early start dates on this. I think it was early as any day after this was approved, and late start was April, I believe. So we gave that distant time frame because if you cram it into one, you get worse prices because people are going to mark it up.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we have had the Sherman Bridge. They had so much time, they'd work 2 days and they'd be off a month. I would like to see those so that inconvenience those people is cut down.
The working days is something KDOT sets. We have no say in those. So,
You agreeing with me? Or?
Yeah, KDOT sets the working days as well.
So
You got no
it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
We have somebody to blame it on.
Yeah.
I know, but it's still not right.
That's an industry standard, isn't it?
I don't know if their theory is, well, if we bid it's going to take 90 days and it takes us 10 days, we would charge more. It looks better. So I don't know. That down there is
that
ridiculous.
contractor, that's the way they work. So.
That's ridiculous.
Don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow.
That's one thing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah. What do we got here?
There's no other ones in the office either. This is everything
Okay.
that we have received. She's date stamped everything as well.
Careful with that sharp object.
Okay, 3 bids here. I got 2 bids and then the engineer's estimate. So I've never do it then. Open it last. Okay. Good engineer's estimate last. Alright, so we have two bidders, should be, Amino Brothers Company Incorporated of K.S.A, Kansas, and
Is that, are you a representative for that? Would you like to step forward, like, not set up here closer, or are you happy back there?
you guys might buy. Then we had also King's Construction Company out of Las Vegas, Kansas.
I've seen the king's hat back there. So.
Alright. Okay, so Amino Brothers, I am paying that, right? Yeah. Okay. $351,138.50.
They are out of
Is that a Kansas City, Kansas? Correct?
351, 138.50.
Yeah, 51, 138.50. King Construction Company. $195,285.
Do you need a pencil sharpener at your company?
Alright. And then engineer's estimate. Okay. And our engineer's estimate comes in at $343,285.
Repeat that.
343, 285.
There you go.
Okay, now the Kings and the brothers will get a set of plans, or
They have all that.
they have, so we're bidding apples to apples.
They all should have had the spec book that you all looked at this morning, the plan set.
And they all bonded and all of that stuff, because we have run into the past where one didn't bond.
There's their bond.
They both have the certificate of insurance attached.
Yeah. Yeah. There's their bond. Yes, there's their business insurance. Yes, there's their insurance. That'll let you up through. Yeah, there's theirs. Did you see anything that was missing? I'm pretty sure it was all there.
And you did say you wanted to review everything.
It probably wouldn't hurt to review it for a week. Let me look through something, make sure everything's there. And then
Usually, if you want us to, we take those back, take a review, and then we can send you a letter with a recommendation. And then it's up to you guys to make the final decision.
I think the more set of eyes that see it and, is the better. That's my take on it.
Boy, unless you see something that really jumps out.
But when you see the cost difference there, that makes you question a little bit even more to me. But I mean,
Well, they're supposed to be bidding the KDOT specifications. A few people call and ask us about, what about this, what about that? And we said we're bidding KDOT specs. So
thank you for your bids, and somebody will be in contact week, 10 days, realistically.
by next Tuesday.
By next
Once you
Tuesday.
gotta approve it next Tuesday.
okay, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
speaking of that, I brought some proposal to provide construction inspection if you so desire during this for your consideration. So you didn't ask for this, but I brought it anyway. I don't know if you were planning to have your own, but it's an hourly contract with a maximum of about $28,600. Have somebody on site the whole time while they're doing this work.
I know this is on camera and all, but since I've been commissioner, I've never seen one project with that much difference if they're comparing the same thing. And then with your estimate being very close to the high bid, that questions.
That's what I said.
Part of it is that, like I said, we had some calls about the KDOT specifications. And for cement treated base, you have to follow KDOT specs. You have to use a certain piece of equipment to spread that cement to get it just so. We had some people asking, what if we do it this other way? And what we said was, you bid the KDOT specs. If you get the job and you want to propose a different method, and you have some sort of savings that you want to give to the county, we would take that under consideration. But everybody's supposed to be bidding KDOT specs.
You're probably looking at union, non-union as well.
Part of it is this is dirt work. We're not doing concrete and steel where it's more cut and dry. We're doing dirt work. If you got a big Bomag machine sitting there and it's not got anything to do, you'd rather keep it busy than not busy. So, Kings have been around a long time. So,
I've never heard nothing negative before.
yeah, barring finding something as we dig through.
I think their home office exclusive.
They got an office there, but I believe they have multiple offices.
Yeah, I just always thought that was.
They're a dirt outfit, basically. So, and I don't know how busy while I was here, the feds. I don't know if you saw that. Just came out with a bridge deal where you can. It's a competitive program where you can try to package a bunch of bridges. Maybe you already said something to
I had just lightly mentioned it this morning that there is a program out there, a grant program.
It has to be. You have to put something in by the end of October, and it's. Every person has some idea. Somebody's come up with an idea that if you bundle bridges, that they can come in cheaper. So this is what they're aimed at. So you have to submit a minimum of 2, but it's probably more like smarter to submit 3 or more. And you have to put a bunch of stuff together to meet the federal government's requirements, which is quite a bit more than the state, but it still goes through the state. But you got till the end of October. But I know you guys have been looking at a lot of bridges, and it's an 80-20 deal. So if you got picked, you pay 20%, and the feds would pay 80.
Well, we got a small bridge that needs to be fixed, but when you got 80-20, we're kind of been looking at a big project.
You're looking, I don't remember what year they were talking. It's a few years out before they started.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah, it would take a number. It's not going to get stuff built. I think it's several years out, but the money's still there. They pretty much describe the kind of bridges they're looking for. Basically,
I thought we was going to get able to do this next year.
Well, you have to have the application and everything submitted. Everything's got to be done by October.
Basically getting it in the pipeline,
Right,
but it's going to be several years before it starts.
It gets
see
built.
Hamburger coming out the other
Yeah.
side.
Okay, then have we got a better chance of not picking an expensive bridge, or do we pick an expensive bridge, or we just pay 20% to be to our advantage?
I think what they're looking, they kind of describe the bridges they're looking for, and basically really bad bridges. They should have a 4 or less, and I think you got a lot of bad ones.
Structure critical.
Right. They posted, that kind of thing. And what they're also looking for is bridges that are kind of a similar type. So, because they're looking for cost savings. Like, you don't want to bundle a box and a major bridge and then something in the middle. They want like 3 of a similar type to try to let it all to one contractor, try to get some savings. That's why there's this bundling thing. And if you had, maybe you had 6 bridges, you could bundle 3 of them of one type and bundle 3 of another type, or that kind of thing.
You submit 2 applications, 3.
Maximum of 3.
Maximum of 3 applications.
And you have to have a minimum of 2 bridges in each group because it's
we definitely
bundling.
want to send
So how complicated is this application?
It's a little bit complicated because you've got to do this present worth and all this and show that the travel. The way basically you do it is if you've got a bridge that's posted, farmers can't use it. They have to drive a certain distance around. So that's costing a certain amount of money.
Are there people who provide us the service to help us do these applications?
Well, yeah, we usually do this sort of thing for free.
What about, is the county gonna incur any cost of designing these bridges? Then if we don't get approved,
You don't have to do any of that before you submit and get selected.
It's just like doing the office.
Yeah, right. That's exactly
You
right.
send an application, you put an engineer's estimate, just a ballpark number out there, your reasonings behind the bridge, just some back data. And then from there, if you are selected, then yes,
So your firm can help us.
We could, sure.
If we would submit, not knowing what was going to be selected, to say 3 proposals with 2 bridges each, and they all 3 got selected, can you decide, well, we're not going to do
You probably could.
this and that because we didn't expect
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
to get funded?
Right.
But I was wondering, what do you?
I find that very likely.
Highly unlikely.
Well,
Highly
I'm just saying
unlikely.
theoretically, just so you don't get yourself on the hook.
You can always turn
For-
something down, sure.
Okay. Well, I was
It's
just
250 some million for the entire United States. So,
Oh, okay.
We'll be lucky if we get selected.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what the
Yeah, it's
scope
worth
of
a
this.
shot, though.
worth a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'd say that.
Throw it in the water.
Send in 3, but if you get 1, consider
Yeah,
it lucky.
and it could be that you might want to bundle more than 2 or 3. That it's a brand new thing from the feds, so it may be they like to see a bundle of 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. It's just,
We could have Commissioner Byer call Uncle Don.
Oh, who?
Uncle Don.
Oh,
Donald.
no, Don's in New York today,
Oh, okay.
so he's not available to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk
Yeah.
to him. We'll figure out.
Take a look at
We'll
it.
select some bridges, and I definitely want to put something in on this. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, if we can get something in and possibly have a chance of getting 2 or 3 more bridges done.
They have a timeline when they let us know we got accepted.
I think that, I don't know, KDOT has jumped in. The submittal date to the feds is like the end of the year, but KDOT's making us put everything through them, so they're at the end of October. You know how slow the federal government moves. So, and I see somewhere on here I had the dates of the
October 1st for KDOT.
Yeah, like
Somewhere in November, December.
towards the end of the year.
Feds.
for-
Okay, last year we didn't get any. Yeah, we did.
2019 we didn't get. 2019 we weren't accepted. We submitted for 2020. We have not heard yet. Back.
Chances are.
You're talking about off system, yeah.
Off system.
Yeah. This is a completely different
Oh,
program.
this is
It's
completely
a bond, what they're calling a bundling program.
Seems like to me you get approved 1 year, just about forget
Yeah,
the next year.
yeah,
and
it's
the 3rd
pretty-
year you're back into the ball.
That's pretty much true.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
more of a federal deal,
Yeah.
not a state deal. So we're going to be in competition with the rest of the United States. So I'm sure a few dozen out of Kansas will be picked, and it'll be sporadic, depending on the size of the bridges. I mean, we might have people coming in with $1 million bridges trying to get replaced, but if you think about it, they're trying to bundle, so you'd have $2 or $3 million, $1 million bridges. It's going to be pretty extensive. I think they're going to be more looking towards this fracture critical, sufficient ratings low.
Well, so then it would be smart to pick 2 expensive bridges, 2 bridges in the middle of the road, and 2 less expensive, because it might get down, well, we got this much money.
Right,
Okay,
kinda
where we want to go.
I kind of like what you're thinking, because like you say, to spread the money around, they tend to pick these cheap ones because then they can talk about the program. They can say, this program replaced 300 bridges. Well, 300 cheap bridges, so people,
Hey, when they throw you a breadcrumb, you pick it
Right.
up.
Yeah.
We'll probably bundle a couple 100-footers.
That's what I'm saying.
50 to 60
Yeah.
footers.
Have your prices, some high dollar ones, some
Yeah.
cheap ones, and meet in the road.
Yeah.
So I'll look through my bridge data and we'll come back up with the list, and I'll have you all select.
Well, with doing what we did the last couple of years, that shouldn't be too tough. We'll go down to Rogers and it's.
Well, I have all that. Yeah, we have
got
that.
the
That's all.
information. You can
I
pick
just
through it.
got to pull out of the document, and here's your bridges, here's where they're at. Basically, the same way we just did our bond project. So.
Okay, as far as your proposal there, we'll have to discuss that amongst
Okay,
ourselves and get back with you on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, is that it?
I think that's all I have.
Is everything?
You can take those.
Well, we'll need to get
Good
copies
documents.
for sure.
I'll go make copies from the clerk's office. I'll take some of theirs.
What do we do with the tobacco on those?
Ford?
And
Still
just
sitting?
just sitting. use it as needed. We haven't had to haven't had to have it on the job here lately. So
And then the one grader, I presume we got it back to Kansas City. Well, they went through one side, wasn't it the grader?
It's been a while back.
as well, yeah, we have both back. We do have an issue with one with something in the front end squeaked or a wheel's bent where we're getting bounced. He said I can't use it or I make the
Yeah, that one boy told me that one
Yeah,
time. He
right.
said, "Aren't you guys aware?" I said, "I'm not aware." He said, "I don't like to drive it." He said, "Going down the road, we take it, and everybody says there's nothing wrong with it." He said, "There's definitely something wrong with it."
He says he causes walking when he's using it because it bounces so much away from it. So we did take it out. We've looked at it. Well, he said he was going as slow as he could go. And
He said he could on the highway when he got the speed up is when he could really tell.
he said now it's anytime he's using it.
Well, we need to get it fixed.
So yeah.
The two bridges down on Southwest, are they open yet?
Okay, one is completed. It's backfilled, ready to go. This would be the east one is poured. We're waiting on guardrails and backfill, and it'll be completed. County Lake Bridge is fully open. Everything's done on it. Signage is up. Looks great. Go out and look at it.
Speaking of signage, I think Pat and Mrs. Funk, used to be Mrs. Funk, the one bridge out there at Butler's had some kind of family that was famous back in the day.
Oh, we're going to input that into the plaque, I guess. We want to
Yes.
name the bridge and put the.
What was his name?
Well, Pardee Butler.
Pardee Butler.
So if we want to do that, it's just something we got to create and let the contractor know we'd like this to be implemented into the concrete, I guess, when they pour certain things. Nothing too major. If you want to do that, we need to have somebody design the plaque first to put in. So.
Every bridge project that's been done since I've been here, at the very end of it, the contractor says something like, "Hey, why don't we do a plaque?" And it's never built in. I don't think it's ever been built into any of the
It
bids.
doesn't allow you to.
And but we've done one, I think, on every bridge.
Usually, when we're doing a bridge, the contractor and the engineering firm split the cost because the contractor's name's on there and the engineer, the designer's name's on there. But then additional information, which is helpful, like how this bridge was designed, what load limit is designed, and what year. So there's some helpful information there. Usually, that's just the way we normally do it. They don't let you, KDOT and the feds don't let you include it in the bids. So that's why usually.
Well, if getting your name on it and Christmas just around the corner, maybe kick in 100%.
Yeah, I said, well, usually the contractor pays 50% and the engineer pays 50%. That's the way we usually do it.
So we'll look into that before construction starts. We'll talk to the contractor and see what happens.
All right.
All right.
But it still needs to come through you guys to get approved what's still on there.
Yeah, there's just two of them.
That's the reason I want another set of eyes to look at that. Make sure that
And then when their estimate was 343.
155, 853 is the difference.
The big differences was on mobilization, and then one of them had $48,000 for seed work for planting grass, and the other had $500 for that.
But the mobilization would be the cost of transporting their equipment in and out.
Okay,
So that would be quite a bit of difference.
Yeah,
But
that
not,
sound like the biggest part of it, right? The seeding was how much? 40-some thousand?
48,000 on one,
Plus 48 of your.
yeah.
versus 500 on another. So
Okay, is there any other new business before the board? Okay, we already talked about the employee training. Is there any old or unfinished business? County councilor updates.
I don't have anything.
Executive sessions. With all that all considered, do I hear a motion to adjourn at 1:50?
So moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. We are adjourned.